Hi friends, I had a little trouble with the audio in this first clip, but if you just bear with me for one moment, it gets better soon, promise. Hi friends, my name is Megan and welcome to my 60-second Flosstube episode. If you are new here, welcome. This is a channel that's mostly about cross-stitch. However, I do share my other hobbies here when I have worked on them. And if you're returning, thank you so much for coming back and spending time with me today. I appreciate all of you even more than you know. Today is Sunday, it is June the 1st, and I hope everybody had a wonderful May. It's a pretty nice day here in Maryland. Our May was pretty chilly and pretty rainy. There were several days when I came home and I was like, oh my gosh, Erin, it feels like October out there. It was lovely. It's like my favorite weather. So that definitely influenced some of my stitching, and I worked on some fall and Halloween pieces over the last month that I'm excited to share with you. I hope everybody, like I said, had a great May. We're all doing okay here. It was a busy month for sure. When I was filming my last video, before I left, when I was filming my last video, Spring Mingle was going on, which is hosted by Lindy Stitches and her amazing team. So I kind of attended that. I didn't actually end up doing any mingling. That Friday night I had technical issues with my camera on my computer and spent like all night trying to get that worked out. And then Saturday, I did what I needed to do in the morning, and then by the time I was kind of ready to settle down and join in, our power went out because of a storm, and then our internet was just not working properly after that. And Sunday I was just unfortunately too busy to pop on. I did catch some of Kathy Haberman's like how do I finish this section, which was really fun and interesting. I really enjoyed that, and I listened to some of the meet and greets. So, and I also shopped, of course. So I've got that to share with you in a little bit. What else happened in May? I helped a friend move. Mother's Day came and went. Mother's Day is not, it's a hard day for some people, myself included. Quentin and Erin both had to work, so, of course. But they came over and we all had breakfast together, and that was really nice. Or Quentin came over. Erin was already here. I don't know. It's just always something. And June also will be a busy month. We've got an event every single week at work this month, which is going to be a lot. It's times like that that I really am thankful for my lunchtime stitching to like recenter and balance me when I've had to do a lot of peopling all day. And my schedule will also change in June after the school year ends. We go down to 4 10-hour work days, which I do not love, but we'll probably talk about that a little bit more later. What else? Tarzan is sleeping on the ironing board over there, so hopefully he remains a good boy. Mittens was just running around, and as you can see, Cora is here. She is devastated because her father left her to go to work, and she needs lots of love, right? We need lots of love to get through this hard time. Anyways, everybody's doing fine. Quentin is also at work. His girlfriend, Lindsay, she just came back for the summer from her first year at college, and she lost her kitty cat, and that was really, really sad. I'm so sad for her, but they're gonna be okay. So, all right, I feel like that was a little rambly, but I do have a lot to share with you today. I've got some new starts, some finishes, some works in progress. To celebrate the return of the primitive needle, which I know a lot of people are excited about, I brought some of my primitive needle finishes out to share with you, maybe get you excited if you're not familiar with their patterns. We'll talk about that again also later, and I've got a couple things that came in the mail. Oh, and a giveaway winner. So that's a full Flosstube, I think. All right, I will do a little rearranging, and I'll be right back. All right, let's get into the stitching, shall we? Here is my book of days, and in the month of May, which this is what my May looked like. In the month of May, I had 3 new starts, 5 finishes out of the 52 works in progress that I started the year with. I've now finished 14 of them, and I have 18 of them left to work on, so that's pretty good. I'm still really enjoying all of my works in progress. It's been nice to have a couple little new starts. I love starting projects. That's maybe my favorite part of cross stitch is the start. So yeah, it's been really great. This first one that I have here to share with you is one that I started last spring, and I think I was working on this in my last video. This is called The Promise Kept by the Cricket Collection. Looks like this. It's a very faded photo. This pattern is from 1988, but I do love it. It lives in this little strawberry mouse bag that I made. And I'm using all of the called for DMC, which there is quite the collection here. It is what it is. And I'm stitching it on a piece of 40 count Mystic Owl by Color and Cotton. And I love this project. It is so pretty and dainty, and I just love working on it. So here's where we are. This time I added in these sweet little snowdrops. How pretty is this? I just really, really enjoy it. Now I am a little bit on the fence about one thing though. If you can see in the picture down at the bottom, there are little roots, like backstitch roots. I don't know if maybe see it on that picture of the snowdrops a little bit better. And I'm just really kind of on the fence about that. I don't know if I love how they look. I know some of you have said that you stitched this, and if you did, do you like the roots? Do you think that that adds to it, or what does everybody think? I think I need an opinion on that, because I just can't decide. I think I just like it so much how it is that I worry that the dark roots will, or maybe I should just trust the designers who are professionals and stop messing about. Either way, it's such a beautiful project. I love it so much. Another project that I was working on the last time is called Captcha. It's by the Retro Stitcher. I'll have to put a picture somewhere of the cover. I don't have a cover photo of that. And that project lives in this black cat bag that I have. This is another one that's a lot of fun. This is the called for DMC. And there's some bright colors in here that I don't often get to use, especially not together, so that's been great. There is so much cat hair on this. Oh wow. Anyways, I'm stitching it on a piece of 18 count black Aida. Ooh, that's quite see-through. And here's where we are. I finished up that first page. This is just really fun. It's so different from anything else that I'm working on. Yeah, it's just a blast. Look at all that hair. Gracious. So yeah, I might pull this back out over the summertime and try to get another page done on it. Love that. Alright, my next project here is a new start. And it's a new start that didn't exactly work out how I was hoping that it would, which does happen sometimes, and that's okay. I showed this pattern in my last video that I had purchased from Etsy. It's called Spice Houses by Mary Stitching, and it is the Lenox Spice Houses, which I covet greatly. And my idea was to take the houses that I liked the most, or the ones that I really wanted the most, and stitch them. And I've got like an area of wall above my sink that I would like to have them like framed up there. And I was really excited because I found some 20 count like oatmeal Aida from Stephanie's shop, Lindy Stitches, and I was like ready. And for a couple reasons it didn't work out exactly the way that I thought it would. So the house that I decided to start with was Paprika. Here they're all like about 55 by 38, 40. I went through and I counted out each of the houses individually. So, like I said, it didn't quite work out the way I thought it would. This project is living in this bag that I made. And here's all of the called for DMCs. Actually, I might be missing one or two, but that's okay. So, look how little this is. So here is my little start and finish of the paprika house. Put some threads there. So, number one, this is too small for the space that I was hoping to put it in. I probably should have thought to like measure that space and like put a little more thought into this project before just kind of spontaneously jumping into it. So I'm figuring that part out because I'm really excited about these. So yeah, this is too small for the space that I wanted it in, and also doing the one strand, I'm not getting kind of the depth of color that I think I would get with two strands on a larger count fabric. And also the main color of the house like completely blends in. So I did have to add a little back stitching around the house to make it pop some more. All that to be said, I still love this, and I think what I want to do with this is turn this into a little needle book for me to keep my like ball tip needles in, and also the pony black needles in. So I've got a vision for this sweet little paprika house. Paprika is used in my house like salt and pepper, basically. We put smoked paprika in like everything. And I will find this house for real one day. But yeah, so there's my little itty bitty finish. Love it. Alright, the next project I have here is another finish. This was one of my very favorite stitches. It was just, I loved it so much I didn't want it to end, but it was its time, and that is Halloween Barnyard by Not Forgotten Farm. That's what she looks like. I mean, there are so many things that I love about this. I love a Halloween pattern. I love that there is a witch riding a donkey. I love the little doggy, the chicken on the barn. It's just, this pattern can do no wrong. This lived in my Olivia bag, Hillside Rookery. This is my favorite project bag. It's so squishy and beautiful and just chef's kiss, right? I stitched this in most of the called for DMCs. I did change the color of the barn a little bit just to make more contrast between the oranges that were used. Also, I used sulky black for the black in this pattern for coverage. I stitched it on a piece of 36 count Phoenix Rising by Fortnite Fabrics. And here it is, all done. So I'll bring it in closer for you guys. Love. love this. I normally like to stitch 2 over 2 on 36 count, but when I stitch in hand, like with this project, I do stitch 1 over 2. And I think the coverage is pretty good here. You probably can't tell, but I didn't switch to the sulky black until I got over here, so there is like some questionable coverage in the barn there, but that's okay. The little doggy, I did adapt to try to make it look like Coraline. Focus there. Which, I don't know if I was super successful. There's not a whole lot of stitches in the face to work with there, but that's okay. And here's my little witch on her donkey. I was going to change her skin tone. I have never been a green witch kind of person, but ever since I saw Wicked, I was like, okay, I can have a green witch. And I actually forgot to put these little dots in. when I was stitching the donkey, and so I just went back and stitched over top of it. And all good, right? Who's to know but me and you? So anyways, here it is, all done. This was an absolute joy. When I'm stitching projects in hand, I love having big spaces, blocks of color to fill in. I find it very satisfying. So, all done. All right, my next project I have here is my Board of Ed project. Every time I watch the Board of Education meetings, this is the project that I work on. It's typically twice a month, like every other week, but around this time of year, it's not always like that because of different breaks and whatever. This gets however long the board meeting is. This is the MLK sampler by Stone Street Stitchworks. And it says, "The time is always right to do what is right." This project lives in my little Maryland bag here that I made. And I changed all the colors. This is going to go to be at my desk at work when it's done. So I changed it to colors that match. Ooh, these are a mess. That match our school system. So I'm stitching this on a piece of 40 count mallow, I think. And here's where I got to. So the top is totally done. I brought the borders down and all the way around. I got this border done, or well, the bones of that border done. I brought the stem down, and I started adding in the bottom words, but I will need to remove that because I'm stitching it in the wrong color. I just have more of the blue left on my needle, and I just kept going. And it wasn't until I went to pull this out that I was like, oh, wait a minute, what was I doing? I don't know. Anyways, here's where it is. I was hoping to finish this by the end of the school year, but I don't know if I can do that I think there's 2 meetings left. I don't think I can do that in 2 meetings. But maybe I can get it done. I think there's 3 meetings over the summer, so maybe I can get it done by the start of the next school year, and then I can start a new project fresh for 25-26. Pretty. Alright, this next project got a little wrinkled here in my pile. I pulled out Night Walk Down by the Blue Flower. Like this. I started this last year on June the 11th. June the 11th is the anniversary of my mom's passing, and she always would text me and my sisters to look at the moon when it was a beautiful night. And this reminds me of her. She had long, dark hair. Beautiful. So I was working on this and thinking about my mom. Oh, hey Tarzan. I am not stitching the border. I'm not stitching the border on this project, which I think is beautiful, but adds a lot of stitches, and I just think that to get this done in a more timely fashion, not doing the border is the way to go for me. Oh. This project lives in this sweet little Diana bag. Here I'm using all of the called for over-dyed flosses. This was a project that I believe when it came out I kitted it up right away, and it sat in my stash for a couple of years until I was ready to start it. I'm stitching it on a piece of 36 count Harvest Blessings by Seraphim Fabric, which is absolutely beautiful, and I do have a hanging thread here. So here's where I got to. I went down and worked on, I finished this bottom page. Now I am stitching this 1/2 on this 36 because I'm also stitching this one in hand, so I'm not always getting the best contrast like in this flower, but that's okay. I still think this is really, really beautiful. And this fabric is just, I know my camera always washes things out. I wish you guys could see how beautiful this fabric is in person. It's just, it's a stunner. Absolute stunner. So yeah, that's where she is. I was hoping actually to continue to work across the top because I would like to cut this off now that I've hit the bottom, but it just didn't work out that way. So maybe next time. There she is. All right, I'm going to pull over the next stack of projects and I'll be right back. All right, up next we have the Woodpecker by Cottage Garden Samplings, which looks like this. I'm sure many of you saw the new, I think it's Year in the Woods, like part 2 that is coming out with that beautiful wolf. I did sign up for the auto ship from Top Knot Stitcher, so I'm excited about that. I do have all of these, but you know, the heart wants what it wants. So here is the sweet little woodpecker. I started this, I think, 2 years ago. Cross Stitch Kate and I share a birthday, and she was starting this for her birthday, our birthday, and so I started it as well. It lives in this little pine cone bag that I made. And I'm using most of the called for colors. I'm using the called for DMC, and then I did sub in some overdyes from my stash. I think it calls for 2 overdyes, and I might have 3 in here to get the look that I would like. So I'm stitching this on a piece of 36 count Fantasy by Fortnite Fabrics, and I finished the first half. So here's where it is. It's so pretty. I did not realize kind of how pink this pattern was going to be. It's got oranges and pinks. It's really, really pretty. It's got like, I don't know, it's got like a 70s kind of vibe to me. It's just really cool. And at first I thought that maybe I would sub out some of these DMC for a variegated floss, but I really think that it's just really pretty exactly how it is. Again, designers knowing how to do their jobs. So there's the woodpecker. This might go up to, we're going back to the Catskills in July, like we did last year with our friend also named Erin, and I took this with me last year, and I might take it with me again this year. I might take some of those projects that I worked on up there last year again. So this might get some more loving this summer as well. The next project that I have here, I'm going to have to pop a picture in of the, it's not really the cover, this is a stitch along. This is the Court of Crows stitch along by Fine Frog Stitching. So I don't have a cover, but I can put in something in here. This project is being stitched on the called for fabric, which is Call by Witch's Garden Crafts. It lives in this Black Cat bag, and I'm using all of the called for DMC, which looks like this. A little messy. And I am pretty much caught up on this. A new clue just came out, I think on Friday, and I started that one late last night. So here's where we are. So I think since the last time I shared this, I added in this lady right here and her flowers, and then this little shelf right here is the next clue. I think there's like 3 books and a skull that goes on that. So this is fun. It is a lot of color changes, but it's like 3 purples and 3 yellows and 3 blues, and 3 like reddy pinks. So it's kind of easy to do the color changes once you get into the rhythm. I rarely have to even look at the symbols anymore to see what colors go where. So that one's coming along. I'll probably work on finishing that up today. This next project, I thought I was going to have it finished to share with you this time, but I do not. This is the Moonphase Bell Pull by Tiny Modernist Cross Stitch, which looks like this. This is my second oldest work in progress. I believe I started this in 2021, and I had a terrible time kind of getting going on this project. I don't know why. I'm really enjoying it now. But this year I am joining in with Jen from Jen's Fiberweb and Stephanie of Cross Stitch the Globe. They decided to work on this on the full moons, and I joined in with them, and also Amy from Amy Loves Toads has also joined in, and we all work on this at the full moon of every month, which has been super motivating to me, and I really thought this would be done, but no. So this project lives in this quilting Nico bag, and it's only 4 colors of DMC, and it's actually still in the Q-snap because I was not taking this out and putting it back in. So the last time I had finished up the trees and I came up here and started this Moonphase, so I'm on this one right here, and when I pulled it out to work on it in May, everything that I had put in here was not right. I ended up pulling all of it out. There was a mistake I couldn't find. I just ripped the whole thing out and started putting it back in. So that took me some time. It wasn't a lot of stitching, but this is a 36 count Timberwolf by Seraphim Fabrics again. As you can see, it's a dark gray, so it was just anyways. And then I thought about, well, maybe I'll just keep going and I'll just finish it. But I feel like that's not in the spirit of the stitch along. So I'm going to wait, and maybe in June. I feel like the full moon in June is maybe on a Friday. So that would bode well for my stitching. But it's been really fun stitching along with those ladies and seeing their progress. Everybody's a little bit different, but they're all very beautiful. So fingers crossed for me, guys. This next project I pulled out. I did not intend on finishing, but a surprise to myself, I did. That is Quaker Gardens by Hello from Liz Matthews, which is absolutely beautiful. If it will focus for us here. There we go. I think this is just gorgeous. I did not do this bottom border here, but I think that's okay. I stitched this on a piece of 32 count copper by Lakeside Linen using 1 strand of Mystery 101 by HDF Silks, hand-dyed fibers. Beautiful blue. I was worried that I wasn't going to have enough of this, but I still have a whole another spool. This is the 3rd sampler that I've done with this spool, and I still have that much left. So, did I show this? It was in this Quaker bag, Blackbird Quaker bag. And here is my finish. She is beautiful. I had the bottom 2 pages to do here, and they are all done. It just went, I don't know. The last time I worked on this, I kept making mistakes, and this time it just like zoomed by. I don't know what the difference was. I guess my headspace maybe, I don't know. But I finished that all up. The house, even the house was fun. I don't know. I just really enjoyed it. It's so pretty. I love it on this color. I know I don't have a whole lot of margin, but that's okay. That doesn't bother me. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. The next project I have to share with you is a start and a finish for the month of May. I'm participating in Dee's 20 Stitches, Stitch for Pride 2025 this year, and for the month of May, we learned about and then stitched a motif inspired by Chevalier Dion. You know, it's like I watch the videos and I listen to the podcasts that are suggested, and I hear people saying the name over and over again, but you know, sometimes it doesn't stick. Anyways, they were a French diplomat and spy, and has a very interesting story. Very interesting. This project lives in this little elephant bag, and I am stitching them all individually. You have the option to stitch them as like a spot sampler or individually, and I'm doing them individually because I would like to make them into little pillows when they're all done. I stitched this month's using a Silks for You. This was a June 2020 silk of the month, and I stitched it on a piece of 32 count black. I think this is an even weave. Oop, I think we need something behind that. Sorry, guys. There you go, much better. So, there is my finish for the month. This was a last minute finish for this month. I don't know, I felt like I stitched on this for so long. I mean, these are all smalls. It's like, this is like 55 by 55 or something like that. But for whatever reason, this one just felt like it took me a really long time. Not in a bad way, just an observational way. But it's really, really pretty. I like that a lot. So that'll make a cute little pillow. I just saw that June's is in my email box right now, so I'm excited to get started on that. My hope is so I've done all of these on fabric that I hope that I can fit 2 on, so I can have just 6 pieces of fabric. So I'll pick one for June, and then hopefully the rest of the year will fit on the fabrics that I have left. Okay, the next project I have is another Halloween work in progress. And this is one that I've had some trouble getting into. This is the Rampant Cat sampler by Barnyard. Looks like this. I made 2 changes. I've changed one of the whites to make it stand out more on my fabric, and then also I'm changing the date from 1826. I'm going to put in the year that Aaron and I got married, because we did get married on Halloween. So I am going to change that. Also, I put in the A, but I'm going to make, instead of an E on the side, I'm going to make it into an M for Megan. This project lives in this cute doggies trick-or-treating bag. I'm using most of the called for DMC. I think that I subbed out whatever the one symbol was for 3865. The DMC, and I got this project to about the halfway point, which feels really good. So I was working on the bottom half, and I put in most of the man. I think I just had the hat, maybe. So I did the gentleman, the tree, the snake, the cat, the over one little A there, the grass, the little flower, that pumpkin. My man does not have eyes. Aaron has blue eyes, so I need to find the right blue to add into this. But yeah, so now that's about halfway done, which does feel really motivating. Or I think it's actually a little more than halfway done. So motivating. I will definitely be pulling that back out in October. I didn't say what color fabric this was. I know this is a color and cotton. I'm not sure where my little tag is. That's so weird. Oh, here it is. Barley. 36 count barley. Color and Cotton. This next project I also did not intend to finish, but I'm glad that I did. This is Boo Sheet by Curio Cabinet Crafts. And I started this last year in October and had some struggles with this, which was all my fault, not the fault of this pattern, which is actually really amazing. Here, let me show you and then I'll talk a little bit about that. This project lived in this bag that I made. Has a couple other projects in there. I stitched it on a piece of, I think this is 28 count. It was a scrap that I had in my stash that I dyed, and I used the called for glow-in-the-dark floss and the DMC 310 black. So here is my finish. Here, I'll put a little paper behind it. There's my finish. I did all of the optional bloom. So last time I worked on this, I'd never worked with glow-in-the-dark floss before, and I had some serious tension issues kind of in the middle of the ghost. There were several rows that were like tighter, and I did not want to rip them out, so I just took one strand of the floss and I went back over every one of those stitches, and you can still kind of see the problem, but I think that overall it is much better. And I didn't have to do any frogging, so that made me happy. And then I did all of that backstitch. The ghost had to be backstitched, and then all of the gloom. Now, I had trouble reading this pattern at first, and that's because I did not like really look through this pattern. Like, as you can see, there's quite a few pages here, and this is so well done. If I had just followed the pattern page by page, where at first it's like all of the cross stitches, and then this part of the back stitching, and then that part of the back stitching, and it was just me being impatient. I do highly suggest this pattern. And the gloom I thought was going to be a total pain in the butt to do, but it was actually very satisfying and very relaxing. Once I started doing it, I just couldn't stop. I just had to keep working on it. And I'm not one of those people that can just, like, I like to follow the pattern. So that is as charted. And I have a frame sitting over there for it already. Maybe we'll have a fully finished object in the next Flosstube. I've got quite a few that are like in the process of being finished, but I just haven't had it in me to sit down and just like finish them up. So all right, the last project I have to share with you here is another new start. This project is called It Is Well by Monticello Stitches, original designs by Jean Workman. And here is how this beautiful pattern looks. I am stitching this with my friend Anne, and she got a start on it this month as well. We started it around her birthday. So there was a problem with the printing of this pattern, but I emailed Jean and she sent me a PDF of the corrected, which I did print. I will say that the PDF pages do not match up with the booklet pages, so I couldn't like work one page of the corrected PDF and then go back to this book. So just keep that in mind. If you're thinking about purchasing it, maybe I would just get the PDF. If that is available to you, I'm using all of the called for DMC here. It's living in this pretty little bag. Here's the called for DMC. I am stitching it on a piece of 36 count Heartland by Picture This Plus, and I did not get a very big start. I'm not doing the border, Anne is doing the border. So here's where I got to. Just 2 little flower baskets. This one took me a long time for whatever reason. I like to color complete when I can, and this one was kind of fussy to do that with. And I think that kind of held me up a little bit when I was getting started, but once I got into a rhythm, it was all good. Again, I really wanted to work across the top so that I could trim down my fabric. I'll show you here. So I did these two, and I was almost to that center one, but I got distracted by other things. So there's my pretty start. Again, I'm stitching this one also in hand, so this is 1/2 on 36 count. And I was kind of questioning if I was going to continue that way because I wasn't super happy with the coverage of the dark green. But I think it's going to be really pretty. And I do think I am going to change the verse in the center. The verse is a hymn, I believe, and I'm not a Christian, so I don't need that up. But I haven't decided what's going to go there yet. So, all right, that is everything that I have worked on this month. So I'm going to reset and we can talk a little bit about the primitive needle. So, I'm sure, like many of you, I was so excited to see that the primitive needle patterns were coming back into print. Mariah, who is the designer Lisa's daughter, has done an amazing job and an amazing tribute, I believe, to her mom, of going through and digitizing the patterns so that they could be sold again. Lisa unfortunately had passed away, and for a long time these patterns were very hard to find or expensive when you did find them, and I've been I feel like privileged enough to be able to stitch some of them, and I brought them to share with you in case you maybe weren't familiar with the work of Lisa from the Primitive Needle, and maybe to inspire you to go pick up a pattern or two. It took everything in me not to just go and buy everything on the website. I've only made one purchase so far, which I will show you. But yeah, just maybe a little inspiration to do some shopping and support this lovely family. I do also want to say that Stephanie from Cross Stitch the Globe did a great interview with Mariah about her mom's patterns that's really touching and beautiful, and I will be sure to have that linked below. Alright, let's get started here. So I've stitched some. I've definitely not stitched all or as many as others, but this is what I do have to share. I believe the first one that I stitched was Ichabod Seabury. This was a pattern that I had borrowed from a friend, and here's what it looks like. I don't believe this one is on the website yet, but it should be hopefully soon. I really loved this stitch. It says, "Here lies ye body of Mr. Ichabod Seabury, died October ye 30th, 1788. Reader, death is a debt to nature due. As I have paid, so must you." This was stitched, I know, on a color and cotton. None of the called for colors here, and as you can see, I had started with one color floss for the portions that go around the words and realized that I was not going to have enough, and I switched to a different color that I thought was close enough. In hindsight, maybe not. That's okay. And it lives in this beautiful thrifted frame that I found. I framed this, I feel like, not that long ago, maybe last year. It sat for a long time. Now this next one I could probably do a reframe on. I'm not super happy with how the finishing on this one turned out. This is Moonsick. I know a lot of people have stitched this one. It says, "Wife, I ween thou are drunk or lunatic. Nay, husband, women are never moon sick." I could definitely take this and put it in a smaller frame. Erin made this frame, so it was to my specifications at the time, but I do think I would like it in a smaller frame, and the lines are just not very straight. But it's still beautiful. This one hangs upstairs, and I think I changed all of the colors except for maybe one. I feel like I might have purchased one of the silks for this, but I can't remember anymore. This was a while ago. But That's a pretty one. This next one I stitched in 2020. This was in March of 2020, I think after things like shut down is when I started this. I stitched We Live in Hope by Blackbird Designs, which is on the wall right there. And then I think maybe either right after I finished that or right like kind of tandem with that one, I stitched this one. And this is Live Simply. It says, live simply that others may simply live. And this I bought, I'm sure on eBay, but it came as a kit. And I believe that it was all called for Valdani 6-strand cotton for this. And these were all the called for colors. This one has been released. I don't think Moonphase has. But she says she's going to do all of them. So that's so exciting. It was just like unbelievable to open up that website and the first thing that I saw when I went on there was Black and Sky. It was just, I was so excited for everyone because I know that this is a unicorn for a lot of people, and a lot of her charts are unicorns for a lot of people. So there were so many people's whose day was made, and it's been great seeing all of the new starts, and it's just really, I don't know, I'm just happy. So here's my version of Black and Sky. This I did as a memorial sampler to my parents. My mom passed in 2016 and my dad passed in 2021. And this one reads, our pleasures are born but to die. They are tied to our hearts but to sever, and like stars streaking across a blackened sky, burn their brightest when fading forever. I changed the date here to 1956 because that was the year both of them were born. I took the eyes out of the sun there, and I stitched this all with flosses from my stash. None of the called for. I just, I think it calls for pure palette silks. Yeah, so I just picked colors that I liked, that I thought were similar, and I'm really happy with how they turned out. This one I did get, this is the only thing I've ever had professionally framed. This I got done at my local Michael's. This next one is another biggie. This is Sampler Sisters of the Heart. Of the Heart? Sampler Sisters of the Heart? Sampler Sisters of the Thread? Sampler Sisters of the Thread. This was a stitch along that I participated in back in 2018. I'm trying to think. It was, I think, Diana from It Is Kismet Stitches, Emily C. of Eclectic Possessions, Michelle of Cozy Egg, and I believe there might have been other people. I'm sorry, I don't remember. It was a long time ago. So this is a big chart. I don't think this one has been released yet either. This framing could use some help. It's like, well, it's not closed up in the back so you can see. So I did lace this one. This was, I think, the first time I'd ever laced anything, and it's loose. I think I should pull it out and tighten it up. And then finally finished the back of this. But yeah, so this one reads, Sampler Sisters of the Thread, Ancient Spirits Hear Us Now, Peace and Love We Do Avow. This was stitched on a piece of 32 count color and cotton. I know that. I think it was from like a Halloween box maybe. And I used all colors from my stash. It was like I borrowed the pattern, and as soon as I got it, I got stitching, and I think I stitched this pretty much straight through. There is a section at the bottom where you can put in initials, so I've got my grandmother and her sister, my aunts, my moms, my sisters, and then some of my stitchy friends down here. Oops. This is a big one. But yeah, that one's super pretty. That one hangs up in my sewing room. The three I have left are not fully finished yet. This one I think I finished last year. This is Flathead's Embrace. Looks like this. This I did use all of the called for colors, all the called for over dyes, I believe. And it says, we are each of us angels with one wing, and we can only fly embracing each other. And this one is just so funky. It's so funky, and it was a joy to stitch. This, you know what this was last year, because I remember working on this when Tarzan was at the emergency vet. This was the project that came with me. So that one needs a frame, and so does this one. This one is called Follow Me. I finished this last year, I think, as well. I've got a whip on the other side of this. That's Lilac by Cozy Egg, Michelle Cozy Egg. This one says, as you are now, so once was I, as I am now, so you must be, so prepare for death and follow me. That one was fun. It's just monochromatic. Easy peasy. And then the last one I have here is available again. This is Hoodoo Voodoo. Looks like this. This is stitched on a piece of Properly Primitive, I think is what this fabric is called. It's like an orangey green. This was all colors, I believe, from my stash. This was, I stitched this as an anniversary piece for Erin and I. Like I said, Erin and I got married on Halloween, and when we first got engaged, our original intention was to get married in New Orleans, but the pandemic changed those plans, obviously, so we had a very small wedding here at our house. It was just 24 people, but it was beautiful, and I try to start something on Halloween every year for our anniversary. So here is this one, and I actually have a frame for it right here. I got it on Friday. It looks like this, and Erin cut the foam core for me yesterday. I don't know if I could hold this up in any way that you could see. Kind of. But I was actually heading to Michael's on Friday because I needed some foam core, and my friend Ethel texted me. She was like, hey, they've got some great $8 frames in the framing department, and this was one of those, like, oops, custom frames. So I got this one, and I got this one, which I'm going to put a picture in because it is perfect for Ann Woodall. Really makes me want to get that out. And I got another one as well, but this one just happened to be perfect for this, so that's on the pile of to be finished, hopefully sooner than later. So yeah, that's some of the primitive needle stitching I've done. I've got a couple more patterns in my stash, and I hope to be adding quite a few more. So, all right, the last thing I would share with you is what came in the mail. Oh, and the giveaway winner. I've got it right there. All right, so I'm going to pull that stuff over, and we'll be right back. All right, so let's start with my giveaway winner. If you saw my last video, my friend Ethel, who I was just talking about, she is a master enabler, but she is also the wonderful designer and wonderful human behind Stitches by Ethel. And she gave me quite a few of her charts, some partially kitted, to give away to all of you, and this was the first one that we did. This is the Threads of Time Sewing Bird. I do use a random number generator to pick winners when I do a giveaway, and the winner this time is Kim, who is stitching with a tortie cat. So that's super exciting. Kim, so I was looking back on my Instagram to look up that Ichabod Seabury. And I started my Instagram in 2017, and I think Kim and I have been friends, Instagram friends, stitchy friends, ever since then. So I'm super excited that this is going to be going to her. She is a really sweet person. She also gave me some great book recommendations this year, so yeah, I'm really excited. So Kim, I'm going to tag you in this. I know at some point I had your address, but I think that I don't know if I have that anymore. So hopefully you can get that over to me and I'll get that in the mail to you. Congratulations. All right, so I just made a few purchases this month, and we'll go through those pretty quickly. This first one is my monthly Fabric of the Month club. Monthly Fabric of the Month. My Fabric of the Month club from Color and Cotton. This is 36 count porcelain. I'm in the neutral club. And obviously this is a beautiful neutral. I can see that Mr. Tarzan was chewing on the bag that it was in. I can see little marks there. He does like to get into my stuff no matter how hard I try to keep him out. And I'm also in the Needlecraft Corner Picture This Plus / Blackbird Design Fabric of the Month this year. I get a piece of 36 count, and this is doubloon. So they partnered with Picture This Plus to do fabrics that are typically called for in Blackbird Design patterns. Beautiful. This is the purchase that I made from the new Primitive Needle website. This was a unicorn of mine, and I am very excited to have it. This is Annie Hyssop's Harvest Moon, which looks like this. I will definitely be starting this in October this year. I don't know if you can hear that, but Cora is under the table and she's dreaming, and I can hear her paws. Like, so love that. Another October start this year will be this pattern by the Witchy Stitcher. This is called A Graveyard Wander. So I saw this, I was not a part of her Patreon, and I saw this posted and I like gasped because this is very reminiscent of mine and Erin's wedding pictures. I wear a black dress. We took pictures in the cemetery next door. Here, I'll put one of them right here. So this will be my anniversary start this year for sure. I just love this. I placed an order with Abby at Top Knot Stitcher Shop. In my last video, I had shown that I purchased the Blue Flowers Pigeon and Puddle, and I said that I had hoped that somebody would do the floss pack again with the Cottage Garden threads, and it was like the universe heard me and Abby restocked. And so I did pick that up from her. And it looks like that. They are really pretty colors. I don't know if this will get started this year or maybe next spring. I'm not sure. And I did pick up one other pattern from her. This is by Quaint Rose Needle Arts. I think this was a market release. This is the 1914 Floral Stag. This is really pretty. It's like a shiny paper though. There we go. And this is all just DMC. It's big. It's 249 by 230. But you know, I love a big deer, so. This next one I don't have printed. I just purchased this, I think, on Friday. This is by Maximum Cross Stitch, Ellen Reid, and this is an ode to a good dog. How pretty is that? The file was like 20 pages long, so I didn't get that printed yet. But I did purchase that. I purchased this pattern by Couleur Tutorel. This is Maria. I'll just show you. I don't want to ruin her name. 1885. And look how cool this is. Like, I can't. That giant center cartouche is just, it's bananas. I love this. I don't have the rest of the pattern over here. I just have the cover page, but I'm sure this is another giant sampler. And then like I said, I did do some shopping at the Jingle Ball, and here's what I purchased from them. Not the Jingle Ball, my gosh. Spring Mingle. I got some of these pretty clover pins. little flower head pins. Oh, I don't know if that'll focus. I got this cute little hummingbird needle threader. How sweet is that? That's cute. I got this little strawberry notebook. I love a notebook. I love notebooks. I got, oh, this lotion bar by Hive and Holler. It's called Bee's Knees, and the scent is peony, raspberry, and prosecco. Oh my gosh, I just tried this a little bit just to see how it felt, and oh my gosh. Can I open it? Maybe. There we go. Not only does it smell amazing, look how cute that is, and it makes your skin feel so good. Sweet. Sweet, sweet, sweet. And what else? Oh, I got these little pins by Poutini. I have, last year maybe, I stitched a little white deer that I designed. It's like smelling some flowers and it's got some raindrops, and I was thinking about finishing it into a little pillow, and I thought that maybe these would be sweet to stick into that pillow. I got Lindy Stitch's pattern from Spring Mingle. It says "You're the Bee's Knees." So cute. And lastly, I got the Ruby Throated Hummingbirds pattern by Boomerang Stitches. Her next online event is going to be the Midsummer Stitch. It looks like it's July 19th through the 20th. And I do plan on attending, and hopefully I can actually like hang out with some people, which is kind of the point, right? Okay, so that is everything I have to share with you. I'm a little like stressed out about the summertime coming. I know a lot of people love the summertime, but I am not one of those people. I do suffer from seasonal affective disorder in the summer, and I just have this dread building knowing that it's coming, and I'm always trying to think of ways to help me get through those months a little better. And so I've been thinking a lot about kind of what I want to do with my stitching during that time. Like I said earlier, or I mentioned earlier, my schedule changes. It'll change the week of the 23rd, and I go to a 4 10-hour day schedule. I do have an extended lunch during that time, so I've just been thinking about what my stitching is going to look like. I spent some time the other day like organizing the digital patterns that I have saved like on my phone, and I think what I might do is try to work through some of those smalls that I have saved this summer, just to give me something quick, you know, like quick happy things to do and see if that helps, and maybe work on some of my bigger whips during my lunch break. I don't know. I'm still deciding what that's going to look like, and it's always trial and error. Every year I try something a little different, and some things work and some things don't, and yeah, that's just how it goes. So anyways, I hope everybody is well as they can be. Yeah, all right, love you all.